Hello, my name is Will Spencer, and you're listening to the Renaissance of Men podcast. This week, I'm hosting a very special episode, a spring spectacular roundtable discussion with three of the most influential and controversial men today, former President Donald Trump, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and from Infowars.com, Alex Jones.
This is a time of transformation. As old ways fall, men are called to rise, to heal our lives, grow strong, and transcend our limitations. In tribes around the world, drawing on the best of masculinity from all of time, a new day is beginning. This is the Renaissance of Men. You are the Renaissance.
To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people.
I don't know how you can go out and protest the structure of the entire economic system if you can't keep your room organized.
I can't tell you about the Matrix. You're going to have to decide you want to take the red pill and see it for yourself.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
The overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that, just out of curiosity?
So this is an attack on you and your family, and they don't want you to know they're doing it, even though it's declassified.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
Yes, they're growing humanoids inside pigs, sheep, and cows that are part human.
For our country and for our children, the best is yet to come.
Marxists say, well, that wasn't real Marxism. What it really means, and I've thought about this for a long time, it's the most arrogant possible statement anyone could ever make. It means if I would have been in Stalin's position, I would have ushered in the damn utopia instead of the genocidal massacres, because I understand the doctrine of Marxism and everything about me is good. It's like, well, think again, sunshine.
Just take the red pill, people!
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
Ha, gotcha.
If you're listening to this podcast, I know that you probably didn't tune in to hear me talk. So contrary to my usual opening essays, I'll be brief. Over the past 18 months of the Renaissance of Men podcast, I've been honored to host some remarkable guests and deep thinkers, both men and women, including Ryan Mickler, Jack Donovan, Allison Armstrong, Laser Hoddle, Pastor Michael Foster, Dr. Robert Glover, Tanner Guzzi, and many more. As a result, this podcast has grown faster than my wildest dreams, and guests are becoming available to me that, when I started, I would have never thought possible. This happened a couple months ago when an anonymous insider reached out to me and made me an offer that I couldn't believe. He said that through his network of connections, he had befriended three men that, to his knowledge, had never met together in person before. But they're all profoundly influential figures on both the American and world stage. He'd heard my podcast, liked what I was doing, and was wondering if I might be interested in facilitating a once-in-a-lifetime conversation between these men. Before he even told me their names, I said I was in. But then when he said who it was, I fell out of my chair. I thought, is he trolling? Then, slowly but surely, one man at a time, he made the necessary introductions, and almost miraculously, given how busy these men are, the episode was scheduled. And I still can't believe it happened. Because you surely know these men's names. The 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump, the famous lecturer, psychologist, and author, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and finally, the infamous radio host, Alex Jones. By now, you must be feeling a bit like I did. What? How? Why? I've come to see that these are questions that no man can answer. I'll let our conversation speak for itself, though I will say we talked both before and after the recording, and I learned a lot from all of them. But we'll save that for a future episode. If you enjoy this podcast, thank you, and you can find out more at linktree/renofmen. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce this week's special guests on the Renaissance of Men Spring Spectacular, former President Donald Trump, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, and Alex Jones. Former President Donald Trump, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and Alex Jones, thanks for being on the podcast today. Former President Trump, I'd like to start with you. As you left office, there are a lot of changes happening in American society, a lot of transformation and perhaps unwelcome change. What's your take on what's going on in the men's movement today?
Well, first of all, Will, thank you so much for having me on. It's been so different not being the president anymore, even though I basically still am. I mean, if you look at what Biden's doing, total disaster. But with the men's movement, listen, I basically created the men's movement, okay? Back in 2015, when I was campaigning, people were clamoring. They needed men to stand up. They needed strong men. Men had become so soy, so weak, so unfaithful to this country. And I stepped in and I filled that role. And since then, it's been a lot of ups and downs. But I think we can all agree that it started with Make America Great Again.
Dr. Peterson, of course, you've had an influence on many men's lives, opened many men's eyes to the Bible, to Christianity, to psychology, and to themselves. What's your take on what's been going on, particularly in the past couple of years since COVID?
Well, that's a hell of a question, eh? It's not entirely clear what the men's movement is. How far back do we go? And where did it come from? It's not entirely clear. It's not clear to me by any means. And it's bloody good that you're doing what you're doing. We got to bring this movement out. We've got to make it the mainstream, eh? And that's that.
And Alex, thanks so much for being on the podcast today. I know that you have lots of perspectives on everything. What do you think about the men's movement?
Well, I appreciate you having me on. Normally I'm so busy doing my own show. I've fired basically everyone from the show because no one else has the information. No one has read the documents. I've stayed up till, when I get these exclusive documents, I read them from literally 4 a.m. to 4 a.m. I read them all day. I don't even know how I have time to record, but that's besides the point. Thank you so much for having me on. The men's movement as a whole, okay, what I think is necessary, I think no one has picked up on this, the infiltration of the globalists, okay, into mainstream society has awakened the men of this country. And I think Donald Trump, he is the embodiment of the alpha male, okay? And that is what we need to fight the globalists. And the globalists, when I say that, people don't know what I mean. What I'm talking about are intergalactic space demons that want to harvest our souls and make babies with us, okay? And the only people that can stop that are real alpha males. So if we didn't have the men's movement, I don't think we'd be able to fight these five-dimensional creatures.
Well, President Trump, since Alex Jones mentioned you, your time inside the White House, you must have seen some things. I wonder if you can comment on the international space demons.
I think it goes without saying that I am the ultimate male. Speaking of which, Alex, thank you so much for saying what you said. I've been taking Alpha Brain, and it's been helping my brain become even more alpha, if you can even believe that. But when I was in the White House, so many people revealed themselves to be who they truly were, and they weren't who I thought they were. I had so many good relationships with so many great people, only to come to find out that they were reptilians the whole time. This might be a lot for you guys to take in. I'm just telling you straight up. I'm just giving you the facts of what happened in there. Alex, you can explain exactly what I mean when I say reptilians.
Look, I know this is a family-friendly show, okay? And so I did not want to get into the information that I have here today, but I brought with me some documents from the CIA and the CDC. I'm not sure how they made this document together, but they did. And so here's the deal. In 1987, we were invaded by reptilian creatures, okay? And what people don't understand is that these reptilians are not from another planet. They are an advanced civilization from Earth, and they got so advanced that they were able to space and time travel, okay? It is the people of Atlantis. And they became these reptilians when they moved interdimensionally, inner space-time, okay? And when they came back in 1987, okay, they landed in Area 51. A lot of people don't know that. I do know that because I have the documents right here. If you want to read them, here they are, okay? So the long story short is when they came here, they said, look, Chief, okay, we're going to come in and we're going to invade your planet. And George Bush Sr. was there at the time. He said, I don't want no problems. I don't want any invasion. And so what happened at that point was they struck a deal, okay? They would harvest the skin suits of everyone in the White House as long as they promised immortality to the people that they harvested skin suits from. And that's where we are today. We got a bunch of people walking around there, skin suits, passing bills. You're like, what the hell is this bill about? The bill is about reptilians taking over our planet incrementally, slowly, with the introduction of global tyranny, global socialism, global communism, and harvesting life force from the American people and the people of the West.
Dr. Peterson, what do you make of all this?
Aliens they're a metaphor, eh? They're a metaphor for a substrata of psychological ills in our society that we're dealing with. But is that what society as a whole thinks? I'm not sure.
Mr. President, are these aliens metaphors, or in your experience, are they real?
These aliens are very real. They are literal space aliens. I've seen them myself. They're so ugly. They look like a combination of a frog and a lizard, and maybe like a demon monkey from outer space. You do not want to look at these things. They're so scary looking. The most frightening thing about all this is that you would never know when they're wearing their skin suits. Sure, you look at Adam Schiff and you're like, that's a very scary looking person, but it looks like a person. He doesn't look like an alien. He doesn't look like a reptilian demon monkey, but he is. He is. It's true. Okay.
Well, just hang on a bloody second, eh, Trump? How do you expect people in the regular purview of society to believe that there are aliens walking amongst us? It's not entirely clear that that's real.
Well, Jordan, I know it's going to be very hard for you to accept this, but the world is not as you think it is. I read your book, 12 Rules for Life, and I found it was a very great, stimulating book, a great starting point for a lot of men out there. But one thing I found it was lacking is what I like to call rule number 13. I coined this rule, I created it, and I feel like it would be so good if you would make another edition of your book that included rule number 13, which goes a little something like this. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, unless, of course, they're screwing you in foreign trade and illegal immigration, in which case, build a wall. Okay, build a wall, make it huge. That's rule number 13. I think if you built a huge wall, you could keep out all of the drugs, guns, aliens. You could make the wall so big that nobody's getting over that wall. Nobody. Okay, you'd be so safe, so secure. Be great.
Here's the deal, Jordan. Okay, this is me, man to man talking. The 12 rules for life lack the spine, okay, to really get things done. You got to get to a point where you say, to hell if you don't pick up your room and make your bed. I'm going to knock your block off if you come towards me, okay? That's the deal. You got to get to a place where you're so good at making your bed that you're willing to stand up in the face of people that don't make their bed and say, do it right now, okay? And that's what Donald Trump's trying to get at. He's got the testosterone and the testicular fortitude, okay, to get the job done. And that's where you have to go. So 13th rule, you can really sum it, just say, have a sack. And that is the bottom of the hour here. Let's go ahead and go to commercial break.
Alex,
what?
There's no commercial breaks here.
Wait, you don't have any?
No,
okay.
It's the Renaissance of Men podcast.
But I've got some vitamins for sale. Can I sell some vitamins?
Maybe at the end.
Okay. All right. Well, here's the deal. We're not going to go on break because it's actually not my show. We're going to cut over to Will. Will, what do you have to say?
I want to hear what Dr. Peterson says about this feedback of his very successful book, 12 Rules. I love the book. I loved Beyond Order as well. It's like getting insight into some of your most profound thoughts about life and meaning and manhood and masculinity. And I myself wasn't able to think of a 13th rule, but what do you think of that 13th rule? Have a sack, build a wall, alien demon space monkeys.
As far as I can tell, Alex Jones represents the archetype of the village crazy guy. How are we supposed to take this man seriously? And Trump, I don't think it's entirely necessary to have a 13th rule, eh? As far as building a wall, we're not dealing with the danger from without. That's not good, man. You got to deal with that stuff. You got to deal with it when it's on your doorstep. You've got to sit up straight and keep your shoulders back, eh? You got to pick up your cross and bloody carry it.
Nobody carries crosses better than I do. I'm so strong. Listen, Jordan, there's no disrespect to you. I think you're very smart. I've been practicing all 12, actually make that 13 rules for so long now. I get up in the morning, I make my bed, okay? I've always asserted myself. I've kept myself very high in the dominance hierarchy, okay? I reflect every single archetype, every positive archetype you could ever imagine. And I think that that's part of my success, is that I embody all the greatest things in the entire world, okay? I'm doing better than anyone has ever done or ever will do, okay? You would not believe how good I'm doing. I'm winning. Even when I'm losing, I'm winning. And I'm going to come back, and I'm going to come back big in 2024. Okay?
Listen, I've told all my friends, all my loved ones, everyone that I care about, okay, I will not sleep until we get the alpha male Donald Trump back in office. I will literally not sleep. I've actually not slept for the past 4 years, right? So I will just not do it for another 10 or 15, however long. Because here's the deal, folks. We've had our fair share of leaders that, say that they want to conserve things, say they love families, whatever, all that stuff, okay? They get in there and they mamsy-pamsy around. They piddle-paddle. They're limp-wristed, okay? Trump comes in, iron fist. Iron fist. And that's what we need. That's what we need today, because those space demons are coming to get us, and are coming to get us tomorrow. And we have to stop it. We have to stop it.
Well, Alex, I think you might need to just step back and take a couple big, deep breaths, eh? Think about what you're grateful for. It's getting kind of dark in here, eh? As a psychologist, I deal with malevolence, and I can tell that you're really going through a lot. If you don't sleep, you're going to spiral out of control into chaos. And that's bad. That's wrong.
I agree that it's so important to get rest. Although I can assure you, Dr. Jordan Peterson, that when I was president, I did not sleep the entire time. I know exactly what Alex Jones is talking about. I know what it's like to literally never sleep for 4 years straight. When the globalists and the swamp rats were trying to take me out, I was calm, cool, and collected. Thanks to Alpha Brain and
X-Force. We've been out of stock of X-Force for at least 7.5 years. We got it back in stock. It is the reason why I grew chest hair again.
Alex, I've also been taking Super Male Vitality, and I can tell you 100% that product keeps me strong. It keeps my libido so high. Not that it needed any help. My libido's always been extremely high, but even higher than it was, which is probably dangerous, that high of a libido. But when I was in office, so many people were coming after me, and I was watching Jordan Peterson videos on YouTube, and I saw that this guy's really trying so hard to stand up for freedom. He's working very hard at it, but he's missing the point a little bit. He's not getting that there are literal space alien demons taking over the world, globalists, psychopaths like Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi. And I just want your take on that, Jordan Peterson. If you could maybe explain how you've gone as far as you've gone and not noticed this.
I don't have time for that. I'm a serious professor. We've got all these crazy bloody things that you're saying, and I'm trying to take it in, but it's bloody hard. I'm not going to engage you on it. It's way too far out, man. You guys need to leave me alone.
Jordan, I can tell this is really stressing you out. And quite frankly, we don't need to get stressed out about this because things are not as dark as they seem.
Jordan, listen, okay? In order for me to, and this is a compliment, okay? Super male vitality is a requirement for me to read your books, okay? I grew up in the foothills of Texas, okay? I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I know a lot of things. I'm an alpha male. I'm well-read, but I ain't no psychological professor, working with archetypes and Jungian psychology, okay? I didn't even really know who that was, okay? I have no clue. I still really don't know, okay? So in order for me to get through your book, I have to pop at least 4 super male vitalities. Okay. And that gives me the focus and the drive to get through the book and then digest it and then internalize and epitomize everything that you've written in that book. I mean, my bed has never been neater, never in a million years. And it's all because of your book. And so I just want to thank you for reaching out, creating a book, 12 Rules for Life, then Beyond Order. Because now that I got my bed made up, now I got to think about, okay, well, how do I fix all this, intergalactic space demon stuff? Because if I'd been fought the wrong battles. I was trying to fight space demons and my bed was a mess. It's like, holy crap, I got to get my bed together first.
I also want to thank Dr. Jordan Peterson for that book, 12 Rules for Life. I never would have gotten to my 13th rule if it had not been for the first 12. It's been very meaningful for me. It's changed my life in a great way. So I thank you.
Well, that's pretty meaningful that you guys have said that. It's what I've been working toward, is changing people's lives. It's getting me a little bit emotional, eh? It's like, God, it's like the story in the Bible, eh? When Jacob was wrestling with the angel, he didn't know he was wrestling with the Lord. I feel like I've been wrestling with an angel for years now, and I didn't know what was going on. It's so bloody meaningful.
All this talk is getting me. I need to call my friend, okay? Let me make a phone call, okay? I know it's your show, Will, but I'm in my feelings.
It's okay, Alex.
He's been there for me since day one. I mean, really since I came across my first unclassified, declassified document. And I came to him and I need to call him really quick. You may know him, you may not. Let me call him real quick. We cut to a call. Yeah, you know who it is. Hey, Gollum, you're on the Alex Jones show.
That's the Renaissance of Men, Alex.
No, excuse me. I'm sorry. You're on Will's show. Gollum, we're bonding right now, and I haven't spoken to you in years, and I just want to tell you I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for calling you an intergalactic space demon freakazoid. I didn't know. I was just so lost. I can't do it.
Well, hi, everybody. Alex, it's okay to be sad. Sometimes Smeagol gets sad, and you know what I do is I go dance around in the grass. Now, anyway, what are you guys talking about? I see the orange fat man is here.
Gollum, it's so great to hear your voice. It's been so long. It's been too long since I've talked to you. Welcome to the Renaissance of Men podcast featuring Alex Jones, myself, and Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Okay, now just what the bloody hell's going on, eh? It's like I'm talking with Trump and bloody Alex Jones, and that's pretty far out. But now we've got a bloody Tolkien character coming in here. It's like, where does it end?
Listen, you have to understand something, Jordan. Okay? You live in a world that is an architecture given to you by the lizard people. What you don't understand is Gollum and Tolkien's writings are history books, not fiction. Okay? That's what you need to get through your head. You live in the Matrix, and that's okay. That's okay. We're here to heal you. Okay? Heal each other is what brotherhood's all about.
Alex, did you give him some of the fish?
I gave him some mackerel and sweet potatoes.
What taters, precious?
Potatoes. Okay? That's what we call them. And so when I say I'm making some baked potatoes or baked potatoes with a B, that's what I'm talking about.
I gotta hand it to you, Gollum. You got over the huge wall that separated Middle-earth and Mordor. And I gotta respect that. That was a huge feat that you took those two little hobbit guys all the way into Mordor, past that huge wall. But I gotta admit, the wall that I'm going to build around the entire United States, along the entire coast, and even up into Canada, is going to be way bigger than the wall that led into Mordor.
Okay, fat man. Alex, thank you for bringing us on. We really appreciate it. Go ahead.
You're welcome. And to be fair, I've been trying to hijack the show the entire time. It's actually not my show. It's Will Spencer's show. He does a fantastic job. He is the literal bow tie and cummerbund of the men's movement. So thank you, Will, for being that for us. And he's incredibly handsome. I mean, look at him. I mean, look at that head. I mean, have you ever seen a bald head more beautiful than that?
Thanks, Alex.
We're going to cut to a commercial break really quick.
Alex,
can we?
Alex, no.
What's that?
There's no commercial breaks here.
You told me at the end I could sell a supplement.
I did. All right. Sell a supplement, Alex. What do I need?
It's a brand new one we just came out with. It's called the Ren of Men Super Booster Max Testosterone Hair Growth Mega Vitality. It's a combination of everything that I've ever made with a bow tie on it, just like Will. And so if you want it, special deal today, use promo code WillSpencer10 to get 10% off. Will Spencer 10 off. That's only tax, but hell, it's the best I can do. I don't know when they're going to cut me off. I think they're going to cut me off next week because you know how the globalists are.
Well, thank you, Alex. That really means a lot to me. I will be sure to direct everyone to your website to purchase using the code WillSpencer10 for 10% off that incredible sounding supplement.
I'll make sure to leave a link in the show notes as well. I'm going to leave a link in your show notes. Is that okay?
That's fine. You can leave a link in my show notes, Alex.
Okay. That's okay. I'm going to shut up now. Go ahead.
Thank you, Alex. Mr. President?
I have to agree with what Alex Jones just said. Will Spencer is an absolute G unit when it comes to the men's movement. I would not characterize him as being accessories to a tuxedo like a bow tie and a cummerbund, but he does have a certain suave personality akin to 007 James Bond. One thing I would say about Will Spencer is that he's so humble and yet so handsome at the same time, just like me. And I think that that's why we connect on so many levels.
Thank you, Mr. President. That really means a lot to me. I appreciate that. And Dr. Peterson, we'll close on a word with you.
This has been one hell of a ride, eh? I'm not quite sure what I'm going to bloody do about this conversation that we've just had. It seems to me that this is a life-changing conversation. And after I read, of course, Alexander Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago, that changed my bloody life. But this conversation might even top that. I'm at a crossroads, Do I go down the bloody rabbit hole that Alex Jones was talking about? Or do I just keep on with reason and sanity? I don't know, to be quite honest. Maybe I'll take my own self-authoring program and maybe I can figure out what direction I'm going to take it. That might help. It's something like that.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much for being on the podcast today. This has been a stimulating and flattering conversation. I'm honored to have you all here, and I look forward to doing this again next April 1st. Thanks for listening to this special episode of The Renaissance of Men. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and our surprise guest. If this is your first time listening to my podcast, welcome. I've got dozens of episodes featuring serious conversations with leaders in both masculinity and femininity, and I run a series called Poetry for Men where I read and interpret poems, bringing the arts back into the conversation. I've also just launched my new Patreon account at patreon.com/renofmen. That's RENOFMEN, like Renaissance of Men, but shorter, Ren of Men. You can also visit my website, renofmen.com, for more. Of course, you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at renofmen and subscribe to my email list. And this is all available from linktree/renofmen. Thanks so much again for listening, and may you be safe from the alien demon space monkeys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Renaissance of Men podcast. Visit us on the web at renofmen.com or on your favorite social media platform at Ren of Men. This is the Renaissance of Men. You are the Renaissance.